I think the map is showing that there's no dispute that the lake is contaminated. There are similar maps showing contamination by pesticides. Of a particular concern to the community is the storm drains that feed directly to Mountain Lake. If there were a tanker spill, the materials from that tanker spill, whether it was milk or gasoline, would flow directly into Mountain Lake, and there are overflow pipes that could potentially connect this to Lobos Creek, which is the Presidio's water supply. So we could potentially have a very serious problem. We've been raising this issue with the agencies for years, and we're simply at a place where we've come to you to try to break this logjam. We have two requests. We have provided a possible resolution for the Land Use Committee to work on and then present to the full board that would encourage the various agencies to solve this problem. And also, we're seeking your help in working with the state legislature to potentially bring funding sources to this or political pressure to get this resolved. Those are my comments, and I'd be happy to answer any other questions.
I have a couple of questions for you. Going back to the map of Mountain Lake Park that showed the contamination. Now, if you could point out for the public, I want people to know what part of the lake is considered in the Presidio and what part of the lake is in Reckin Park. So if we could put that back on. Okay.
You see this line, this sort of diagonal line right here?
Mm-hmm.
It's this one. This would be tricky. I did lose it. Let me just point it out on the screen.
It's a little bit like a
diagonal line here
mm-hmm.
and down the. So this section of the beach is city Reckin Park jurisdiction.
Now, is any part of the beach in the Presidio, to the right of that line that shoots straight down? Is that?
That's the Presidio.
Okay, but I'll have to ask you, excuse me, to speak into the mic.
Oh, sorry.
So it can be recorded.
Sorry about that. Is it open beachfront, or is the only open beachfront on city land?
I think there are folks here that could
I'm
more
sure
clearly identify. The Friends of Mountain Lake Park folks would be able to identify that more quickly.
Okay.
Easily. But
the part that is city property, it is open. I know that that's open beach, and
yes.
Part of my concern here also is the fact that we have a lot of animals who play in the water. We have a lot of, I'm not sure if we have children who are swimming in it, but I believe that we do.
Sure.
Most of the contamination is in the soil, but as you start to, step on the soil and, the animals will run through it, it starts to dig it up a little bit. Do you know how deep the water is right here?
at the shoreline, it's
Well, obviously, it
yes.
starts off.
And then the whole lake, I think at the deepest part is just over 10 feet deep. It's becoming more and more shallow.
Okay.
So it's quite shallow.
Okay. So just to put this out there for the speakers who might come up in the future, part of my concern too is the fact that it's an open beach, that it is clearly contaminated and it's a toxic waste site, and we still have children and animals swimming in it. And so along with the resolutions that you had spoken about earlier, we're looking at introducing something tomorrow that would temporarily, that would put signs up temporarily along the shoreline on city property saying that this is a toxic site, and closing it off to swimmers and animals until we figure out a way to mitigate the types of issues that we're dealing with right now. So just to throw that out there is another issue that's on the table for discussion at this hearing. All right. Thank you, Mr. Kern.
Mr. Kern, again, just to reiterate the do-re-mi question here, how much money are we talking about and how much money might be available?
There are several estimates for the toxic cleanup, and it could be as much as $8 million to do the dredging of the toxic waste. The program that would divert stormwater away from Mountain Lake could be up to $2 million to do that work. Those are estimates that have been done by multiple folks on the Presidio Trust staff.
And how much money do we think might reasonably be available today? If the answer
That's
is...
probably a
if the answer
question
is
for
yeah.
the agencies.
Yeah, right. Okay.
I think they're going to say, we don't have any money available to do anything.
Again, the other issue we talked about was the issue of getting some private philanthropic effort going here. Certainly, without naming names, there are certain very wealthy people who have been involved in issues tangential to, adjacent to, and connected to Mountain Lake Park with the Presidio. And I would think that if a major effort were raised by some folks who have that capacity, and I see some folks in the audience here who may have that capacity or are connected to people who have that capacity, that may be part of the solution, and I think it would be an important part of the solution, including the possibility of things like taking Mountain Lake Park and making sure that someone who might help out or some parties that might help out would be given some kind of a favorable sort of gratitude in the form of some form of public acknowledgement there, and we could deal with that up the road. But I really think that that's also an option that's got to be on the table at this juncture. Thank you.
And
Thank
if
you.
I might add,
Yeah.
I agree with Supervisor McGoldrick, and then obviously also in conjunction with Caltrans, simply fixing the problems that we don't have. We have two issues: one, stopping the runoff, and two, mitigating the impact of it.
Right.
We can't have, unfortunately, we would need the state to come in and fix. Go ahead.
No, I was just to say, I don't think we're talking about naming rights for the lake yet, but...
Oh, no, I wasn't either.
No, terribly sorry. Anyway.
I did want to add that our work with the Presidio Trust, they've been a great steward of the park. And
Absolutely.
in all the cleanup sites they've worked on, they've done the job that was needed. This is a situation that's kind of a legacy issue. It was not a cleanup site. Now it is. No money. Responsible parties not coming together to do the right thing. So.
Again, Mr. Kern, how many natural lakes are there in San Francisco that you're aware of?
This is the one that I'm aware of that remains fully natural lake.
Right. Okay. Just so people understand, for example, if you go in the Golden Gate Park, the lakes that are there are actually clay-lined, and they've been made by people. Those are really artificial lakes. They've been created. One was just restored in the last 3 or 4 years. I forget which one it was. The north one, I think. At any rate, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kearns. If Mr.